The night sky was a heavy, suffocating blanket of black, torn apart only by the violent flashes of lightning. The wind didn't just blow, it howled through the barren branches, a merciless roar that seemed determined to swallow everything in its path. And the rain. The rain was a relentless wall of freezing water, turning the earth into a treacherous, slipping nightmare of mud and broken stone. In the heart of this chaos, a tiny, fragile life was running out of time. She was just a kitten, a small calico with patches of orange and black, her once fluffy white fur now plastered to her trembling body, thick with the heavy, cold mud of the mountain. Her lungs burned with every desperate gasp of air. Behind her, swallowed by the darkness but echoing in her sensitive ears, was the terrifying sound of pursuit. The heavy, rhythmic thud of paws, the low, hungry growls of wild dogs moving through the underbrush. She didn't know why she was being chased in this unforgiving wilderness. She only knew she had to keep moving, her tiny paws slipping and sliding over jagged rocks, tearing at her soft pads. But the mountain was cruel, and soon there was nowhere left to run. The ground disappeared before her. She slid to a sudden, terrifying halt, her front paws sending a shower of loose pebbles cascading over the edge into the black, mist-filled abyss below. It was a sheer drop, a cliff edge made of sharp, unforgiving rock. She was trapped. To her back, the sounds of the wild dogs were growing closer, their snarls carried on the biting wind. To her front, nothing but the empty, terrifying void of the canyon. She pressed herself down against the cold stone, a tiny, shivering speck of life against the vast, angry world. The rain beat down on her small head, flattening the orange tabby markings across her forehead. Her distinctive orange and black striped tail curled tightly around her freezing body in a desperate, futile attempt to find warmth. She was so cold, a deep, bone-chilling cold that made her fragile frame shake violently. She lifted her head, her bright, yellow-green eyes wide, with a terror so profound, it was entirely silent. She didn't even have the strength left to cry out. Those beautiful eyes, usually filled with the innocent curiosity of a kitten, were now just brimming with tears that mixed indistinguishably with the rain. She closed them tightly, flattening her small ears against her head. She was exhausted. The shivering was slowing down, giving way to a dangerous numbness. The fight was leaving her small body. The darkness was closing in, and she was ready to surrender to the cold, wet night. But sometimes, miracles break through the dark. Just as the world seemed to fade away entirely, a beam of light sliced through the thick, blinding rain. It was frantic, sweeping across the jagged rocks, cutting through the heavy fog. Then, another sound cut through the storm. Not the growl of a predator, but the heavy, deliberate crunch of boots on gravel. She opened her eyes, just a sliver, blinking against the harsh, sudden light. The beam steadied, falling directly on her soaked, trembling form. Through the downpour, a figure emerged, wrapped in a bright yellow raincoat. For a moment she tensed, her primal instincts screaming at her to flee, to hide. But there was nowhere to go. And then a hand reached out. It wasn't a claw. It wasn't a sudden, violent strike. It was a slow, deliberate movement. The hand was warm, even through the biting cold of the air, and it gently, so incredibly gently, scooped her up from the jagged stone. She felt herself being lifted from the edge of the abyss. The terrifying drop vanished, replaced by the soft, dry warmth of a thick white towel. The rescuer folded the fabric around her frozen, muddy body, shielding her from the punishing rain. Held close to a beating chest, the terrifying roar of the storm began to muffle. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the little calico closed her eyes, not in fear, but in sheer exhaustion. The journey down the mountain was a blur of motion and muted sounds, but the warmth remained constant. When she finally opened her eyes again, the harsh, chaotic world of the cliff edge was gone. She was indoors. The air was still and quiet and wonderfully, deeply warm. She was resting on a bed of incredibly soft blankets. The biting wind had been replaced by a soft, humming sound. Above her, a beautiful glowing orange light poured down, bathing her shivering body in a deep, penetrating heat. It was an infrared heat lamp, her own personal artificial sun, slowly chasing the dangerous chill from her bones. Gentle hands returned. They used warm, damp cloths to carefully wipe away the thick mud that had caked her beautiful white, orange, and black fur. They moved with such patience, making sure not to hurt her sore, tired muscles. As the mud washed away, the true beauty of her calico pattern began to emerge. Her fur, though still damp, was starting to fluff up under the warm glow of the lamp. Then came the smell, a rich, sweet scent that made her tiny pink nose twitch. A small plastic syringe was brought to her mouth. At first, she was hesitant, turning her head slightly away. But a single drop of warm, rich milk touched her tongue. Instinct took over. She latched onto the tip, her little paws reaching up to instinctively knead the air. She drank greedily, her hollow stomach finally receiving the nourishment it so desperately needed. With every swallow, the terror of the cliff, the darkness of the night, and the cold of the rain faded a little more into the background. When she was full, a soft, dry towel was draped over her like a gentle hug. The heavy, yellow-green eyes began to droop. The adrenaline that had kept her alive on that mountain was finally crashing. Her breathing slowed, becoming deep and rhythmic. She let out a long, shuddering sigh, her head resting on her clean paws. The nightmare was over. Here, beneath the warm orange glow, she was safe. She slept deeply, completely, letting her broken spirit and exhausted body begin the long process of healing. Days turned into weeks, and the transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The frightened, mud-soaked creature on the edge of the abyss was gone. In her place was a vibrant, playful young cat. Her fur, once matted and dull, was now incredibly soft, bright, and impeccably clean. The striking contrast of her white body with patches of deep black and vibrant orange was stunning. Her striped tail stood tall and proud as she trotted across the room. The fear had vanished from her wide, yellow-green eyes, replaced by a radiant, joyful curiosity. She was no longer in a clinic. She was in a home, her forever home. The afternoon sun streamed through a large window, casting a warm, golden glow across the soft living room floor. She found the perfect patch of sunlight, stretching her long, agile body across the warm floorboards. She rolled onto her back, exposing her soft pink undercoat to the golden rays. She let out a deep, vibrating purr that echoed in the quiet room, a sound of pure, unadulterated contentment. From the cold, terrifying brink of a jagged cliff, through the darkest, most unforgiving storm, she had traveled a long and difficult road. But she had made it. She was loved, she was cherished, and she would never have to